Thanks for staying with us time now for Media Watch, for which we're joined by Nicholas Rushworth. Hi, Nick.
Hi.
Okay, so we're going to be starting off with some tweets from Mars.
Well, we've had loads of enthusiasm about the Mars Curiosity rover, NASA's truck that landed on the planet next to us. And it's tweeting on a regular basis. This is one from a few hours ago, and we can look at it here. It's speaking in the first person, which is very user-friendly. My head is up, my mast is deployed successfully, and I'm looking around. So obviously, really lots of excitement about this landing on Mars. The NASA website, I can show you that. You can, people can go to that. They can see the pictures of the descent onto the planet, which is really something quite extraordinary. There's lots of information and so on there about this incredible historic moment.
And what have Earthlings been saying about the Curiosity?
Well, there's a kind of cruel side to this about, is this this is a Mars attacks style invasion? So a bit of a Yankees come home, Yankees go home, I should say. This is one cartoon that's making the rounds of the Facebook. There you can see that. Two Martians, one says to the other, "Oh, we don't have any oil, do we?" And that's actually a cartoon from January 2004, not now, by Plant. And it's making the rounds in Facebook. And that, of course, perhaps I felt remains as topical then as it does today, really. It's something that's pretty funny. This one too is in French. It's in the City paper here, and it's a bit of a Paris-centric joke. Of course, we both know that Paris is the centre of the universe, don't we? So the joke, of course, that Paris is empty in August. So here's the Curiosity rover saying, "There's no trace of life at all. Oh yes, it must be August." So that's sort of reflection of life in Paris in August.
Oh, well, staying with the word from France, it looks like there's been some sign of a comeback to politics from ex-President Sarkozy.
Well, there's been 90 days of silence since Nicolas Sarkozy ended his term, his 5-year term. This is being covered in the press. Sarkozy breaks his silence to urge international action in Syria. Now, he's spoken to a Syrian opposition politician. I can name him Abdul Baset Sieda. And that conversation was by phone. There was no meeting as such. But Nicolas Sarkozy came out very strongly for foreign intervention with Syria, with the crisis as it stands now. Now, of course, politically, that's all about pressuring his rival, François Hollande, the current president, and the press. The French press is pretty much covering this in full. L'Express is asking its readers to say, well, should Nicolas Sarkozy come back to politics, make an early comeback? And there are 283 comments already on that page for that. Le Figaro is saying, well, it's got a survey. Do you want Nicolas Sarkozy to play a role in the crisis negotiations around Syria? And we can't quite see it there, but at the bottom, it's about 50-50. So this afternoon, 50.38% was in favour of Sarkozy doing something. The Twitters are not kind to him at all. Look at this one. Sarkozy has just telephoned Nixon. An official communique will be issued in the evening. So sort of they're hammering at the former president here. And this is another one. Another joke, negative. All the tweets about this question of Sarkozy speaking about Syria were all negative, and this one is a joke saying, well, Sarkozy, yeah, it's good for him now to get involved with the Syria dossier. He must be one of the last people to have Bashar al-Assad's mobile phone number. Right. So that's pretty tough going.
Well, moving on to one of the huge stories of the week, what is going on about the coverage of the Olympics?
Well, every day there are dozens of brilliant stories plastered all over papers and blogs and so on. But one that I really liked is this one. I found it in the Atlantic Wire as I was trawling away this afternoon. And here, the headline, "Never ever joke about North Korea's Olympics team." Now, this is because a tiny paper in Australia, in the city of Brisbane, decided to publish its table. There we can just see it there. Of a medals table showing how the medals table stand, and if we look at it, we can see that, in fact, this small Brisbane paper has actually said, naughty Korea and nice Korea. So, of course, that is one thing, but that didn't stop there. The Koreans replied. Pyongyang got furious and issued a public statement. It said the Brisbane Metro paper is a rogue paper, it's bullying us, it's insulting us, it's against the traditions of the Olympics. So they've taken it at face value, which is quite extraordinary, really.
Right, stirring up some trouble there. Well, thanks very much for that, Nicholas Rushworth. Do stay with us, though, a couple of moments before we take a look at web news.